Hello, and welcome back to Season 2, Episode 111, a Paranormal NL podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Pocket Cast. I'm your host, Jen. For tonight's show, let's give a shout out to who introduced me to tonight's guest. A big shout out to Michael Koph, the ReikiMaster and podcaster with the energy that surrounds us. And he's in Texas, and he was on PNL Podcast Season 2, Episode 53. Now it's time to pull up that cozy chair and a nice beverage and listen in to your favorite podcast. Paranormal NL Podcast is a place where the people of Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada, and anywhere else in the world can share their paranormal experiences. PNL Podcast also believes in supporting people, places, and things to promote paranormal tourism and paranormal networking all over the world. A big thank you again to all the PNL Podcast alumni guests from Season 1 and 2, and of course, our fans. We want to hear your stories. Do you have any paranormal, metaphysical, UFO, cryptid creature, folklore, historical, or just tales of the weird you'd like to share as a guest on my PNL Podcast? Please reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, or Gmail. After your episode, you'll become part of the PNL Podcast Alumni Network. And don't forget, you can also share your stories anonymously. And you can also listen in with your smart TV for free on that Spotify app. And make sure you click on that Spotify bell or subscribe or follow along on whatever platform you're listening in on and get updates for new episodes. Head on over to Facebook and join our group, Paranormal NL Podcast Group. We'd love to have you there. Find upcoming new PNL episodes in the featured section of the group. We're listening to our fans. Paranormal NL Podcast is coming soon to YouTube, and PNL is now on Instagram, and PNL has a Facebook page for fans who are not on Instagram for Instagram Reel Drops, and a spot for the PNL BOG Team Facebook Go Lives. That's right. Stay tuned for a new branch of Paranormal NL Podcast with the BOG Team. It's a boots on the ground paranormal investigation team doing local historic investigations in Newfoundland. Our fans asked us, Paranormal NL Podcast merch and the new PNL BOG Team merch is now available on TeePublic with all kinds of different logo designs and swag stuff that our fans asked for. Then, without further ado, I'm going to bring on the stage over here on the StreamYard stage. We got Chanel, and we also have Sam here, both from Tennessee, from Elite Vixen Paranormal. Have I got that right? You're both from Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. Whole team.
Yes.
Welcome. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
So, tell us what's happening down in Tennessee these days.
It's still pretty incredibly hot and miserable. And other than that, just doing ghost stuff.
Lots of ghosty stuff down there. Yeah, so are you, you're all in the same general area in Tennessee?
Yeah, we all kind of hail from like Middle Tennessee, like Nashville area and surrounding.
So tell us more about where your name of the company came from. Who else is in the group? I know there's a fair lot of you in the group.
Take it away, Chanel.
But you're the one that came up with the name, so I feel like
I know, but you tell the story like way better than I ever could.
Okay, that's fair. So we were formed back in 2018. It was actually the idea to form the group was Samantha's idea. She and I were on a co-ed team before Elite Vixen, and because of the things that like we had experienced, Samantha specifically, because she had it a lot worse than I did, we noticed that there was a difference between how men in the field were treated versus the women in the field. And Samantha really did have a rough time of it. So I want to say sometime around September, October-ish of that year, Samantha had started to like formulate, maybe we should, well, she had originally pitched the idea of doing like an all-female just ghost hunt. And that was quickly shot down. And then, so I guess she had started to like brainstorm like an all-female team. And then we had our final investigation with that team. Samantha and I were supposed to be the leads on that investigation, and we were supposed to be running the show, you know. Well, it was an interesting night to say the least. But we were quickly shown that even though we were supposed to be equals with our two male partner, like, you know, the other admins on the team, they both were gentlemen. We quickly learned that we were not. And that evening was just, there was so much that had just happened. And Sam had already pitched the idea to me.
We gotta say hello to your dog in the background there.
Yeah.
Who do we have on with us also for pets?
Oh, that's Lexi.
Lexi.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome, Lexi. Keep going.
Yeah.
Yep. So
sorry about that.
no, we're in the middle of making a female team group, and I'm sorry that happened with the men. Yeah, unfortunately, it is male dominant here too. Same way.
Yes. Yeah. So we had also, like I said, so Sam had like started to conceptualize that. She came to me. We had this hunt, and afterwards it was like, yes, let's do it. You know, we had like noticed also in like the paranormal TV how like women were always in the background, or there'd be one woman and like 5 men standing there with their arms crossed, like they're big and bad. And all the things. And it's just like, wow. So yeah, then Samantha, I said it was November of 2018. We had a meeting, and me, Samantha, Jessica are the 3 like remaining from the original 4. Our friend Kayla, she left the team to go be a mom, but she was also one of the 4 original founding members. But they'll be coming to our event we have next month, which is pretty cool. So, or not next month, in October. But yeah, that's kind of how we formed. And then as far as the name, Samantha also came up with a name because she's super creative like that. And being an all female team, we had a lot of fun playing around with the V in Vixen.
You said V and my mind went totally like just off track. I'm like, Chanel, what are you doing?
But I love to tell it though, because it's funny. Like, because we did throw around an interesting other word related to being a woman.
Oh no.
But yeah, I knew I wanted, like, I'm a big acronym fan. So having the acronym EVP was like a need, and just kind of made it work.
Yeah, I like that acronym. And I like the Vixen too with the fox. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty cool.
yeah, so we've got Chanel, Samantha, Janice.
Yeah, then we have, so there's 8 of us total. We have, so yeah, me, Sam, I have to count on my fingers because there's a lot. Me, Sam, Janice, Jessica. Like I said, you know, she was one of the original founding members. Raina. And we have Erica, Jen, and Abigail. And that's all of us.
And Janice.
Good crowd. Yep, and Janice. Yeah, we mentioned her at the top there. So tell us more about your group. Where do you guys usually go?
Oh God, we've been a lot of different places. We kind of stay within region. So we've been to Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, obviously, because we live there, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, all in that region. We've kind of
Nice.
covered.
So do you source out do you go to the event stuff where the ticketed items are, or do you find like the offbeat kind of stuff?
We like the offbeat stuff, but we'll attend ticketed events if like our friends are running them and things like that. But we kind of just typically go by ourselves. You know, we'll rent out a location, and do our team thing.
Yeah, that's quite popular where y'all are at down that way, where you can rent out a location. And I wish there were more facilities like that here. In fact, I don't even think we have any facilities like that here, besides what we call a bed and breakfast or an Airbnb. Have you been to many haunted Airbnbs or bed and breakfasts?
We've been to a bed and breakfast. We just got done running a paranormal women's retreat at like a bed and breakfast type deal.
I was looking
Called,
at that. That looks
yeah,
fun.
it was called a Thomas House in Red Boiling Springs.
Yeah, tell us more about it.
Oh Lord. So So the investigation was really cool. We had a bunch of women, some on teams, some not on teams, all ranging, I think, from like 18 years old to like 60s. And it was a blast.
Yeah, did you find much evidence at the place that you were at?
Yeah, we had some really cool experiences. Jen in particular, she had a dance with a ghost, and we got it on oh, help me, Chanel. What's it called? SLS.
That's
Oh,
yeah.
that's fun. I love the SLS. Tell us more things like that stick out in your mind and your group, that some of the investigations that you've done together.
One thing that really sticks out to me in particular is like one of the first times that we went to Octagon Hall, and me and Chanel were just kind of sitting at base camp, I guess. We had our whole setup there. And you know what I'm about to tell, Chanel.
Yes,
But
I do. Mhm.
I was just like, I need to go and do an EVP in the dining room. And she's like, okay. So I went in there and I kind of stopped in the doorway and I looked at the table and there was these like flameless candles with the like switch on the bottom,
Okay.
And they were on, and I'm like, were these candles on the whole time? Because you really got to pick it up, flip it over, and switch it, for it to come on. And they weren't, and we were able, because I had that feeling, to go back and get it pulled up on Octagon Hall's footage.
So they weren't on before?
No, they came on by themselves.
So they like playing with the batteries and whatnot.
I don't know. I think they just like candles, maybe. I like candles.
Right? Yeah. One of the last ones we were at, we were trying to figure out, like, we were asking them, hey, how did you know we were here? And we were across from a graveyard, and they said the candles, because there's usually nobody there at night, and they were attracted to those. That was kind of cool.
Well, that is cool.
Yeah. So tell us some more, Chanel. Do you have any things that you want to talk about, or anything that sticks out in your mind for some of the investigations that you've been on?
Yeah. There's just so many, when you think about like all the like memorable investigations that we've been on. One of my favorites actually was last year, and we had went to this location in Nashville. Oh, sorry, that's my son.
That's okay. Everybody's got a family. So you were at an investigation in Nashville?
Yes, and it was, so Raina used to work there, and one of the girls, and there was something that had happened there, and one of her, I guess she was like the manager at the time, and one of her cooks had actually passed away while working. And for me, like, the evidence that we got was so amazing. That experience was so just profound, and we won't even release the footage because it was such a private moment for her.
Okay.
And really got a lot of closure in that time, and being able to like witness it, because we don't ever leave anybody like alone, even in a location like that. So like everybody else had started to do like tear down, and like for me, what sticks out the most is the very end of the night, because it was very moving. But so I was standing there because everybody else was getting evidence, or not evidence, I'm sorry, but equipment. And so like watching her like interact so like amazingly, like very intelligent responses, REM pod just hitting, and like thinking about it, it gives me goosebumps because it's such an amazing moment.
And you could just kind of see the relief on Raina's face too, like to know that her friend was like, all right.
That's touching, right? That you were able to help her with that kind of stuff. I know you were talking earlier about women in the paranormal. Did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about with that?
Yeah. So that's actually one of the things that we one of our platforms, if you will. We very much are supporters of women in the field. Now, I will say that since we started back in 2018, there has been progress in this area. But even now, like if you look at media and things like that, like women are still kind of in the background, or like they have to be mediums or something along those lines, when in reality, I think that there's actually more female investigators now, at least in the United States, than there are male investigators. But there's still it's still kind of like an old boys club. In the recent past, and when I say this, is like talking about the last year or so, there's been 2 like distinct times where it was like, oh wow, okay, so we're still doing this. One was a couple months ago. We had a collaboration with 2 other teams down in locations in Lynchburg, and I have a friend who owns another team out in West Tennessee, and he's been trying to get in touch with the owner of this location, and like he said to me, he's like, hey, can you just go ahead and book this particular date in September? And I was like, yeah, go, no problem. So I went to the owner and I was like, hey, my friend wants to book this specific date in September for what he's working on. And the owner looked at me and said, okay, well, have him reach out to me. Okay.
I want to let you book it.
Yeah. And it wasn't a matter of because we all know each other, you know what I mean? Like Middle Tennessee Paranormal, our community, we all know each other. We're all pretty well close. We all run in the same circle. And so it wasn't like a matter of oh, well, I need to talk to him or something. It was just a matter of, well, he just needs to reach out to me, so that was okay, cool. And then there was another instance that happened last year sometime, where we were at this location and it was all about the gentleman that had joined us. He and the owner of that location it didn't matter. We would be sitting there in conversation and it was all about him and the 2 guys and like I said, that kind of good old boy thing. And it was just oh, okay. So we still got some work to do in this field.
Yeah, I mean, there's more and more women coming out of the woodwork, I think, and it's great that you do have a platform like that, and it's fun that you guys had a retreat with all women. I think that was the first time I've heard of that. That's really fun. Are you going to have another one?
Hell yeah. We even had somebody come, where was that lady from? She was so sweet. I can't remember, but she came so far just to be there with her daughter. Oh, where was she from now?
Connecticut.
Connecticut. So she came all the way from Connecticut to Tennessee just for that event, and that was really cool.
Oh, that's really sweet. So do you guys help them with their equipment and stuff? Do they bring their own, or how does it work with you guys?
A lot of them brought their own, but if they don't bring their own, we always share. Sharing is caring.
There you go. That's right. I know you mentioned the SLS. I mean, some of the equipment is really expensive, hey, and hard to get your hands on. And not all teams, have all the fun, expensive equipment. So when you say, share, yeah, that a lot of teams do that, don't they?
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure. So do you have any other equipment that you'd like to use? Have you ever kicked it old school, or do you like to use all the high tech?
You cut out.
We have a lot of different equipment. So we have, there's a lot of value in just being with a voice recorder. You know what I mean?
Right.
In a room, sitting there, and just doing a typical standard EVB session. For me personally, my favorite piece of equipment is I really do love me a good REM pod, and I love me some cat balls.
Yeah.
For sure.
The good old cat pods and REM pods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
The 360s and the S box and doing the Estes method and things like that.
Yeah, it seems like more people are doing the Estes. It seems like more often. What do you guys think?
I'm
starting to see it more. Yeah. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. I even saw it. No, you're good, Sam. I even saw it last night on a television show on the. Not the Travel Channel. I think it's Discovery. On the Discovery Channel here in the United States, I watched them do the Estes method at the location that they were investigating, and I was like, "Wow! We do the same thing on investigation." It was pretty cool.
Yeah, you can get a lot of different stuff. Do you ever do any old school stuff, like with the dowsing rods or anything? Or
Yeah, we do. We love the dowsing rods. Actually, they're a lot of fun, and it's like, for me, it's kind of cool. And I had a discussion recently with another paranormal colleague about dowsing rods because he's super skeptical. And I was like, here's the thing: is that dowsing rods have been used in divination and ghost hunting and things like that for like centuries. And he was like, nah. And I was like, bet. And I looked it up, and sure enough, because they were started to use back in like the 1500s for like divination and things like that. And I think that's super cool. That's still a practice that 500 years later, and we're still doing it.
yeah, I've seen them used for, a lot of other different things. I've seen them used to locate graves. And of course, traditionally, they're used for water. And I've even seen some people just pick them off a tree. And, as long as you got them the certain way that they need to point and the way they need to be, and even work that way.
Yeah, for sure. And it's real cool, like doing the dowsing rods, because especially like the first couple of times when you're like kind of getting like used to it, but knowing that like you're not manipulating them, and like feeling them being pulled, in whichever direction.
Yeah, that's a weird feeling, isn't it?
So, yeah, it's really cool though.
Yeah. So what about like other methods? Have you tried any other different types of things? Any like solo missions or things like that? Or does everybody go in a big group?
We once stuffed a chick down a hole. That was fun. No, but really. I was going to say something. I totally lost my train of thought because I am a hot mess express.
So you put somebody in a hole by themselves? Where was this at?
Octagon Hall. So they used to have this tunnel that went from the winter kitchen down in the basement down to the slave kitchen outside.
Mm-hmm.
A tunnel for them to go back and forth. It's blocked off now, but we didn't know that. But we stuck a girl down there anyway. And yeah, it was quite hilarious because she kind of got stuck getting out, but we got her out.
You got her out. What kinds of trigger objects do you guys bring, or does it depend on where you're going?
I think it really depends where we're going. Like if we're going somewhere that we know that there's a known child spirit or whatnot, we'll bring things like toys or candy. And another one would be like for the adults of the Civil War era, I guess, like tobacco or
And
alcohol.
as women, do you find that the children's spirits tend to gravitate towards you more?
I think so. We have a couple on the team that they gravitate more towards than anybody, Jessica being one of them.
And do you have like different specialties of your team members that they do?
I would say we all bring something different to the table, but I wouldn't say any of us has one particular specialty.
Yeah, it's great that you have such a large team because that always helps, especially when you have a lot of equipment and stuff like that. Well, I think we're coming up soon on the Vixen Paranormal Hour. For folks who are listening and they want to follow your stuff and see your work, where would they find you?
So we have like every form of social media. And really, if you just search Elite Vixen Paranormal, we're going to come up. Facebook, our handle is EVP Hunters. Instagram, it's at Elite_Vixen_Paranormal. Same with Threads. Twitter, or X, I should say, is at Elite Vixen Para 1, like the number 1. TikTok's at Elite Vixen Paranormal. YouTube, Elite Vixen Paranormal. And then you can also find us at EliteVixenParanormal.com and EliteVixenParanormal.net. And we also have an Etsy store, which is also Elite Vixen Paranormal.
You've got a lot of stuff. So I will post your link tree when I get it there on the podcast description so everybody can find all of your links in a one-stop shop. And everybody follow Elite Vixen Paranormal in Tennessee. You won't be disappointed. Thanks so much, Chanel and Samantha, for being on the show today.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
having us.
Yeah, thanks you so much. And you're welcome back on the show anytime. And you guys have a great time in Tennessee. I'm going to stop the recording, but we're going to do a little quick off-air wrap-up chat.